now that Chuss is back, we
Yes.
can talk about your favorite quarterback out of this. Actually, I want to talk about two quarterbacks here because you know more about college. So I want you to tell me something here. First of all, Anthony Richardson, your boy, your favorite player in the NFL draft. If there is anyone you have hyped up more in this draft and said, you know who should have gone into the NFL draft earlier, it's Anthony Richardson. That was all Chuss. I believe he said that multiple times. And then also tell me about Will Levis. He was there
No, no.
round one. Hang on. He Will Levis was there round one. He was in the building. He thought he was going to be a top 10 pick. The media was telling him he was going to be a top 10 pick. And then he didn't get drafted in round one. And he said, I'm leaving. We're going home. And so he wasn't there for round two. But did you see the memes about Will
No,
Levis?
I felt really bad about Will Levis not getting drafted. He reminded me of they according to just storybook stuff and stuff like that, they constantly during like when Aaron Rodgers was getting drafted, they consistently kept showing him in the green room waiting to get drafted, and he just looked so defeated. And it reminded me a lot of Will Levis, where it was just like Will Levis was just sitting in the green room all defeated and stuff, and there was like numbers kept showing up where it'd be like, oh, a 1% chance he would be here at round pick 20. I'm like, dude, come on, man. You got dude's got to be
0.0015% chance that he was going to be here. No.
Yeah, and I was like, this is just sad, man. Like, it's sad.
The funny thing about Will Levis, though, was every time they showed him, there was a different girl next to him.
Yeah, but we don't really know. One had to have been his girlfriend and sister.
I know which. I did my research, as all good reporters do. The girl in the red dress was his girlfriend.
Okay.
Her name was Gia.
Okay.
Gia. I believe the other two girls were his sisters. But the meme very quickly became that we are going to draft Will Levis's sisters and girlfriend before we draft Will Levis. And so kind of feel bad for him. I mean, you've got all that media going around talking about you're going to be hype, and then a day later it's we're going to draft your girlfriend. We're not going to draft you.
Well, I mean, they kept showing her on screen. They kept showing all the girls that he was with on screen. So it makes you like constantly. Oh yeah, don't get it. Yeah, I mean, but it's just one of those things where it's like
we're not making fun of them. They're very pretty girls, but it was
you would expect the memes to come. Yeah, you would expect the memes to come, especially when they're only showing the like. I feel like the same thing would have happened if it was like Anthony Richardson, or like if AR didn't get drafted, or even like Stroud, like if he had a bunch of girls with him. Any player that they expected to go high and was showing a bunch of girls with him, I'm sure that it would have been a meme. So
yeah. So tell me about Anthony. We've talked about Anthony Richardson before. We've got a video talking about Anthony Richardson. I think maybe even talking about him going to the Colts, which is where he ended up. But tell me about Anthony Richardson. Tell me about Will Levis. Why do you think Will Levis fell when Anthony Richardson is there? Who do you think is better? Did the Colts make a mistake?
So, I mean, I'm not super high on Anthony Richardson, as I have said in very multiple other episodes. I think that he has some sort of effect right now, kind of based on his combine, which I know we've talked about briefly, just with the combine being in a situation where kind of similar to Zach Wilson, almost kind of, had a really good combine. He kind of boosted up in his draft stock. I don't think that Anthony Richardson necessarily overall after watching his tape is going to be a bad quarterback. I just don't think he is going to be on the level that Stroud and Young will be on at the same time, because I think AR might take some time to develop in Indianapolis just because he's young. I think he should have take the extra year. I mean, he's only a sophomore. He's going to have to take some time to develop. I'm afraid if Indianapolis throws him in too quickly, he's going to not do well. So I would like for him to be developed behind one of the other guys that they have. They have like Gardner Minshew. They have a couple other guys that they can have like mentor him. I think Anthony Richardson is, he's a solid overall player in aspects. And the reason I say that is just because he's had very big games. He shows that he has a very strong arm. He has different movement styles and stuff that really show that he could be a very good quarterback. However, in my opinion, I feel like we haven't seen enough of him. And I mean, I feel like he definitely could have taken that extra year to really develop himself, and he might have been even a first overall pick rather than a fourth. I mean, he's getting that bag either way, so good for him. But honestly, we'll see how it goes. But
You think he could have been better than Caleb Williams?
I mean, we don't know because
Well, no, we don't know. I just didn't know if you thought
I,
he
I
had
mean, he could have been. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like anything can happen in college because, Kenny Pickett was expected to be a fifth, sixth round pick by the time his super senior year came around. Then he blew up, just like Joe Burrow. I mean, I brought in those two guys up multiple times because they've been two very notable guys that have gone first round that weren't expected to be anywhere near the first round. They're expected to be day 3 picks, and I think it'll be big. You know, like I think I think this is very big, and I don't really know where Caleb Williams would have stood against AR. I mean, we'll really never know, but I would like to think that they might have been in the same contention had he waited a year or two.
real
As
quick.
for Will Levis,
Yeah,
but
before you move on to Will Levis, the Vikings just drafted UCLA quarterback Dorian Thompson.
okay.
So that could potentially end up being Kirk Cousins' replacement a year after they drafted Kellen Mond. So we'll see. Tell me about Will Levis, though. Why did Will Levis fall out of the first round?
So, it's kind of hard to very much, go through the idea of what these GMs are doing. I mean, excuse me. I mean, I really thought Will Levis was going to go to Tennessee in the first round, but obviously he fell and he ended up going to Tennessee anyway. But I really thought that he was going to end up getting drafted a lot earlier. But I think just based on just the different stocks and different things, the different stock value and a lot of these other players at the draft at the time, I think just kind of changed the are you good?
Yeah, they showed that wrong. I was incorrect because of the stream. The Vikings did not draft him. The Browns drafted Dorian Thompson Robinson. So
Okay.
another quarterback is in Cleveland.
Oh, lovely. Well, good for Cleveland, I guess.
But continue.
But I think with Will Levis, I think, I think he's kind of similar in a stat line with Anthony Richardson in some aspects. I think a lot of his numbers, like Stroud and Young, obviously we're going to go top. Like you knew that there are teams that needed quarterbacks, Houston and Carolina being those teams, and they had the numbers and they had, and Bryce Young had won Heisman, and there's just been a lot of amazing things that have happened between those two quarterbacks. And I think with Will Levis, I think the reason that he fell out was just because, you know, his numbers are kind of not the same. I feel like, he didn't play for one of those bigger colleges. He played for, what was it, Kentucky, I believe. Not that Kentucky's a bad team. It's just Kentucky's not on that same level as like Alabama, Ohio State, some of these teams that are getting like a lot of these players. I mean, Kentucky didn't have like a phenomenal year. Like it wasn't like, as I always love going back to, Joe Burrow and Kenny Pickett because of our quarterback comparisons. They didn't have like a huge year where they won anything like major. Like we won the ACC championship. You guys won the national championship with, LSU.
Kentucky's in the ACC as well, though, aren't they? Are they in the
I don't think so.
Are
I
they?
don't.
Okay.
I Louisville is though.
Maybe that's what.
Kentucky Wildcats are. I thought we're in like the
Are they in the Big Ten?
big. I thought they were. I don't know conferences off the top of my head.
It won't let
They're
me.
in the Eastern Division of the Southeastern Conference.
So they're in the SEC.
Yeah, they're in the SEC.
Okay.
So
Okay. I mean, that's a good conference, though.
yeah, I mean it's a good conference. It's just one of
Very
those things where I definitely think that it wasn't like he had some bomb year with Kentucky. It wasn't like Kentucky was in any sort of number things where it's like, oh yeah,
Oh, right.
Kentucky's nationally ranked 9. They're undefeated or anything crazy like that. Like TCU got a lot of guys getting drafted this year because of how well they put on a performance this year. I mean, after all, although they got blown out in the Natty, I mean, the fact that they even made it is crazy. So, you just don't think of that when you think of TCU. You don't think they're going to make it to that point. Whereas like Kentucky, same thing. I mean, for me, it was kind of like a Malik Willis situation where it's like some of these quarterbacks just kind of went really under the radar. And like the only one that really like stuck out to me was Kenny Pickett because of, his like playing style and how well he did. And granted, he didn't win the Heisman. He lost out to Bryce Young, who just got drafted first overall this draft. I think that, some of these quarterbacks were highlighted way too high and may have just dropped in value, not because of, who they are or what it was, but maybe a team's need was greater and they were just kind of banking on him to fall. A lot of teams passed up on him, but a lot of these teams needed other positions. And I felt like they might have not wanted to take the gamble on Will Levis in case he wasn't what they were looking for. Because remember, like some of these quarterbacks that go in the first round, you have to be careful because sometimes, like, granted, they might play for like some random college and they might be great, or they might play for a random college, go in the first round and play terribly in the NFL because they're not used to that style. Now, granted, Kentucky is not bad. I'm not saying that they're bad because, I mean, there are a lot worse teams out there that play college
like he lagged
ball,
again.
but I think that Will Levis fell just based on stats.
Real quick,
and I think that there were a lot of other higher team needs at the time.
Very interesting.
So that's where I'm going with it. I don't know where you're at right now. You froze on my end again.
He got
That's
drafted
okay.
by the Titans early in the second round, but also the Titans drafted Malik Willis last year, and they've moved on quickly from him. They've apparently decided that they aren't going to use him as the backup anymore. And I thought that they would go for a guy who was more similar to Malik Willis, more of a mobile guy. Will Levis doesn't strike me as that guy. I see Will Levis as more similar to Ryan Tannehill. I believe this is Ryan Tannehill's last year on his contract, so maybe they're looking for a guy who's similar to Ryan Tannehill because they like the way he played. They're moving on from Malik Willis. I was never a Malik Willis guy. I will say that. Like, I had something in my stomach that was telling me, like, hey, he's not going to pan out. I didn't like that he left Auburn and went to Liberty. That struck me as kind of playing at the higher level and kind of moving down. Will Levis, the weirdest thing that I've seen about him is that he puts mayonnaise in his coffee, and that gives me a rumbly tummy. That upsets me. But
what? Wait. Backtrack a little bit.
Wait, you didn't know this?
What? No, what did you just tell me right here?
Yeah, you didn't know this? Dude,
no.
Will Levis has the weirdest eating habits of like anyone. He puts mayonnaise in his coffee. He did it at the draft. They like showed it on the stream. They were like, it showed him with like a Hellman's mayonnaise like bottle, and he put it in his coffee. Not only that, he eats bananas with the peel on. You didn't know that? That was like his whole thing.
No, I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, no.
Maybe that's why Will Levis. I had this whole like statistic and logical thing. Maybe the players and teams just thought he was a weirdo or something because he had some weird. A
couple teams did say that they didn't like his personality.
Maybe he just has a weird person. Bro, I mean, some girl finds him really attractive, even with the Mayo habits. So, and she's a very good-looking woman. So
maybe she taught him that.
Or maybe he doesn't like coffee, and he drinks it for her, and really, really just loves the taste of mayo so much that he just puts it in there just to mask the taste of coffee. I like what is
know that.
Yeah, but what is there a reason to put mayo in your freaking coffee? Come on, dude. There's got to be some sort of like science behind that. There can't be just like, it can't be like some people like, I know like some of like my family members and people I know put ketchup and like mix it with mac and cheese. I don't personally do that, but like there's a science behind it. It like tastes good for them. But like but like I know people that do that, but like it's different when it comes to like mayo and coffee because it's like that's a topping that you put inside a liquid drink.
He has walked it back. I looked up Will Levis mayo and coffee because I wanted to show you the video, but the thing that pops up is a quote from him that said, "Nah, that's just a joke. A stupid thing I did that I thought was funny. I don't actually do it. I'm a one cream, one sugar type of guy." But the fact is he still did it. And there's also a video of him eating a banana. Well, like, yeah. The dude's a menace. But I think it's interesting. I don't know who the Titans starting quarterback is going to be next year. Might be Mr. Mayo.
I don't know.
I don't.
Well, I think it'll still be Tannehill, but I think that Levis might get his chance at
I
some
think
point
this
in the
is his
season when
last season.
Tannehill. Yeah, but like I think Tannehill. I mean,
Would
with
you extend
Tannehill's track
Tannehill?
record, I hate to be that guy, but I'm afraid that Tannehill's what?
Would you extend Tannehill? I think
Oh,
this is
would I
Tannehill's
extend
last
Tannehill?
season as a Titan.
Oh no. Well, I was gonna say that with Tannehill, I think that at some point Tannehill is going to get hurt anyway. Like, I hate to be that guy and say that Tannehill is going to get hurt. Like, I really don't. But like, just based on his track record,
Okay.
and I think that Will Levis will start, and I'm hoping if Will Levis shows better playing style than Malik Willis and shows potential, that they probably will just let Tannehill walk. But if Tannehill plays well, gets hurt, and then Will Levis goes in and just doesn't do well, then they might consider extending Tannehill. So I think it's a lot of trial and error based on what's going to happen this season. I wouldn't bank on anything just yet. I think you'd wait.